Has HJR-192 been rescinded? Has HJR-192 been rescinded? The frequency with which inquisitive monarchs have posed this particular query is so abundant that it defies enumeration. They have unquestioningly embraced this narrative of patriotism without engaging in critical analysis. The crux of the issue lies in the indolence of sovereigns who exhibit a lackadaisical approach towards conducting diligent inquiries, or engaging in comprehensive contemplation of rumors, thereby succumbing to a state of unwavering credulity towards any information they encounter. To commence, it is imperative to acknowledge that HJR-192 serves as the abbreviated nomenclature for House Joint Resolution 192. Thus, let us delve into the intricacies of comprehending the essence of an aspiration. A bucket list pertains solely to the individual who has made it, rather than extending its relevance to one's immediate neighbor or any other individual in proximity. You, my dear interlocutor, are the individual who has made the conscious decision to embark upon a journey of fasting, eating vegetarian, or deciding to go to church more. It is imperative to acknowledge that your neighbor, being a separate entity, does not bear any obligation to undertake the same aspirations that you have chosen for yourself. The legislative measure known as HJR-192 is a resolution of utmost significance, specifically tailored to govern the esteemed members of Congress who, in their wisdom, resolved to enact it. Its jurisdiction extends solely to those individuals and entities directly impacted by its provisions. The ability to modify it lies within the purview of Congress, much like the freedom to modify one's bucket list lies within the individual's discretion. Nevertheless, the act of amending a public law presents a distinct and nuanced challenge. According to the statutes at large books, the specific law in question can be found under the reference Chapter 48 Stat. 112. The verbiage employed in both HJR-192 and the public law is strikingly similar, albeit with one being a resolution and the other a legally binding enactment. By alluding to HJR-192, am I not subtly implying that I possess an astute understanding of legislative matters, thereby indicating my status as a constituent of Congress and a proud denizen of the esteemed United States? Regrettably, expressing further thoughts on the matter is not within my current inclination. I must assert that the federal government has regrettably failed to adequately distribute lawful currency, specifically gold and silver coins, thereby compelling me to discharge my debts through the use of commercial paper, effectively deferring them to a later date. Consequently, this limits my responsibility as a sovereign individual to repay a debt. I kindly assert my reliance on the federal government's duty towards me as delineated in Chapter 48 Statute 112, rather than the colloquially referenced HJR-192. Regrettably, the federal government has curtailed my capacity to settle a financial obligation employing legal tender. However, it is imperative to note that this circumstance does not render me beholden to Congress or the federal government, thereby rendering their resolution inapplicable to my person. Nevertheless, their responsibility towards me in accordance with their public law does indeed extend to me, as the current supply of legal tender in circulation fails to adequately meet the financial requirements of the populace, myself included. In 1933, when the federal government decided to withdraw a significant portion of our legally recognized currency from circulation, specifically gold coins, it inadvertently created a shortage of lawful money available to the general public. This scarcity was further exacerbated by the fact that only silver coins remained in circulation. Consequently, it became imperative for Congress to devise a solution to address this predicament and provide the people with a suitable remedy. The remedy in question can be found in the esteemed realm of public law, specifically under the illustrious title of Chapter 48 Stat. 112. According to the stipulations, the federal government shall assume the responsibility of settling my financial obligations, matching each dollar with an equivalent sum. Please be aware that the statement does not explicitly guarantee governmental coverage for personal expenses such as purchasing a yacht. It solely emphasizes the commitment to alleviate one's lawful financial obligations. The vast majority, if not the entirety, of state constitutions mandate that the state fulfill its financial obligations by tendering payments in the form of precious metals, specifically gold and silver coinage. Through the removal of a state government's capacity to fulfill its constitutional obligation of settling its debts with gold and silver currency, the federal government inadvertently curtailed the state government's ability to operate in a de jure manner. The de jure states were temporarily halted from functioning following the occurrence of the subsequent four acts. 1. In the year 1933, a significant event occurred as gold coins were removed from the realm of general circulation. 2. Another noteworthy occurrence took place in 1964 when the United States Mint ceased the production of silver coins, marking a significant shift in currency composition. 3. Subsequently, in 1968, the redemption of silver certificates for silver was discontinued, signifying a change in the way these certificates were valued. 4. Lastly, on the memorable date of August 15, 1971, President Nixon made the decision to close the gold window, effectively halting the exchange of foreign-held dollars for gold. During that juncture, the U.S. dollar derived its value exclusively from the unwavering trust and financial commitment of the American populace. Consequently, the states found themselves unable to operate in an officially recognized manner while in a state of suspension. The state's suspension occurred due to the federal government's imposition, wherein the state was compelled to remunerate its officers, judges, employees, and the like, with a medium of exchange other than the esteemed gold and silver coin, as mandated by the state constitution. The entity referred to as something other than gold and silver coin can be accurately described as a form of currency known as fiat money or script, which derives its value solely from the collective efforts and productivity of the populace, rather than being backed by tangible assets such as precious metals. Hence, from a constitutional standpoint, the states found themselves unable to operate in a de jure manner due to their inability to fulfill their financial obligations as stipulated by their constitution, namely, their contractual agreement with the citizens. In light of the federal government's decision to withdraw gold coin currency in 1933, consequently leading to the suspension of state operations and the inability to fulfill their debt obligations in gold and silver coins, it became imperative to seek a solution. The remedy lies within the legislative provision known as Chapter 48, Statute 112. This provision not only serves as a solution for the states, but also extends its benefits to the esteemed individuals who, in their sovereignty, were instrumental in the establishment of these states. The repeal of that remedy shall remain unattainable until such time as an ample reinstatement of gold and silver coinage is achieved for widespread circulation. It is plausible that Congress has chosen to repeal certain provisions of HJR-192, or potentially the entirety of it, given that HJR-192 is essentially a resolution pertaining to Congress and its constituents. Nevertheless, the veritable panacea is bestowed upon the populace through the auspices of public law, more specifically denoted as Chapter 48, Statute 112. In anticipation of the state governments resuming their operations, it is imperative for the federal government to infuse an ample amount of lawful currency into the general circulation. Rest assured, in accordance with the provisions outlined in Chapter 48, Stat 112, your remedy remains steadfast and impervious to repeal, ensuring its enduring presence. The potential resolution for the subjects or citizens mentioned in HJR-192 may not provide a substantial remedy, as it merely represents a resolution. However, the remedy available to a sovereign individual, as outlined in Public Law Chapter 48, Stat 112, will remain intact, as a sovereign's recourse lies within the realm of public law. If we were to entertain the notion, as some ill-informed individuals assert, that the assurance of the federal government to fully settle one's financial obligations, without any loss, is no longer in effect, then it logically follows that these individuals lack a solid foundation for asserting their recourse through the utilization of the 1099-OID procedure to obtain reimbursement for the funds they personally disbursed to satisfy their debts. There are two perspectives to consider here. The first is that if you hold the belief that the federal government has repealed the remedy you seek, then it follows that the 1099-OID refund process is no longer available to you. On the other hand, if you hold the belief that the government is responsible for fully settling your debts, then the 1099-OID process becomes your recourse to recover the funds you have expended in fulfilling your financial obligations. It is indeed quite astonishing to discover that the efficacy of your remedy has been nullified, prompting you to endeavor to reclaim said remedy by means of requesting a reimbursement utilizing the 1099-OID procedure. Having acquired a profound understanding of the differentiation between a resolution and a public law, coupled with a comprehensive comprehension of the underlying reasoning behind the redress bestowed upon us, may we now find solace in the fact that our remedy is unequivocally lucid. Consequently, there should be no further perplexity regarding the appropriate course of action to undertake in managing our affairs as esteemed members of the Republic, be it as state citizens, private citizens, or free citizens, particularly in matters pertaining to indebtedness. Thank you for watching.